Alright, I am back with my newest transformer, Crosshaul. I was really kind of intending Crosshaul to be a better version of Firebomb, kind of, because Firebomb didn't really have a trailer, so I wanted to build a truck with a trailer that combined to form the robot. And then this car here, I just included it to make this not a complete ripoff of the actual Transformer Ultra Magnus. I try not to do that. For all I know, the names that I come up with could be some obscure Transformer. But, we'll start with this truck here. It's got one wheel on the front, two on the back, on both sides, obviously. It's got two smokestacks. It's kind of beefy, almost. The wheels don't really scale well with the truck itself, but they're the ones I've been using, and the ones that I'll probably continue to use until the end of time. But yeah, it's got a windshield, and then this hood and the grill. The hood, the grill are both split down the middle, and it's got this stud here where the trailer connects. Alright, so looking at this trailer here, you can see that's not really detailed. The whole thing splits down the middle like this because that's where the arms come from. And then this little car here, that's all of the transformations. It's literally just a single stud in there to hold together. But you can fold down these hands back here to form a sort of ramp to allow the car to drive up, and then these two studs back here can connect onto here, and it fits decently. You just can't see the wheels on the car, which I feel like is kind of unrealistic. And then everything together scales decently, I guess, but the truck and the car scaling is kind of atrocious. Because, like, the car is comparable in size to Havoc's, the combiner that I made. This car is comparable to Havoc's individual limbs. And then this truck is comparable to almost half of Havoc's body. So, yeah, this scaling is not too good. So, with the vehicle mode out of the way, I guess that I will transform this. You are able to transform this without disconnecting the trailer from the truck, but and I'm gonna try to do that, but it's difficult. It's even harder than it already is. But first you're going to look at the bottom, and then basically pull out. See, fell off. And then basically pull this out here. So then now there's a divot here. You can't really tell because it's dark. But so yeah, then there's this divot. And then you're going to fold this up like this. Fold down both of these smokestacks to the sides. I'm just going to leave this trailer disconnected for the duration of the truck. And then bring the back up here so that it looks like this. And then you're going to fold down both of these hood pieces. Bring them out on their own individual hinges. And then, how do I describe this? You're gonna rotate them like this. Rotate them like this on a stud. Rotate them like this on another stud. And then rotate this panel. That is the wrong spot. And then rotate this part here. Rotate the foot out like this. And then that's one leg. And then doing the same to the other results in Havoc's, not Havoc, results in Crosshaul's legs. And then this trailer here, very first thing you're going to do is disconnect the car along the stud. and then bring up both halves along this hinge. And then there's some hinges right here on the yellow piece. You're going to bring both of these out like this. And then you're going to bring up this head. And then there's a hinge here. You're going to completely rotate this stud 180 degrees. Fold these wheels out of the way. Bring this car part up. Rotate it so that it lines up with the shoulders. And then just basically squish everything together until it fits, so that it forms basically a shoulder panel or a shoulder blade. And then just basically straighten everything out. And then these wheel panels are a little bit iffy. I'm not entirely sure where to put them. I usually just put them like this, because that feels decent. That feels like a decent storage. And then now I'm just transforming I'm transforming his other arm. It does not want to line up. So then, with both of Crosshaul's arms, this is Crosshaul's robot mode. As you can see, his proportions aren't completely accurate. Like, his waist is down here and should probably be somewhere around here. That would be right in the middle of the windshield though. And these arms are just basically formed out of the entirety of the trailer. The truck was way, I don't know, denser than I intended it to be, but I feel like it was a really good transformation, and I wanted to make a trailer that fit with that, and I don't think I got that entirely. Maybe I should try to improve that in another video. But you can see why I couldn't have made the car any bigger, because then that would increase the shoulder blades, and maybe it could look like that one Megatron figure or something that I've seen before, where it was like treads maybe that stuck up here off the shoulders. But so that's basically mostly the robot mode. And then looking at the articulation, it's got an ankle tilt that does not like to ankle tilt. Because it's on a stud, and studs do not like to be turned usually, because there's so many panels that have to rotate at the same time. I say so many, there's like 2. But it's tough without snapping off the panels. It does have a knee, kind of, but you can't really get it all the way back without rotating this front wheel. That is not good. You can't really get the knee all the way back without rotating this front wheel here 90 degrees. But then that lets you get, basically that lets you get a 90-degree bend. But then there's this awkward thing sticking out of the leg. So it's decent for posing. I guess that in theory you could like bring it up into the middle if you're trying to get something like that. But then you can't bend the leg all the way back on the waist. So I prefer to keep these leg things down, because I don't try to pose these. I just store them until I inevitably have to disassemble them for new bots. But no waist rotation. It does have this weird thing. Mostly it's entirely for transformation, but it does have this joint that you could in theory use for something at the waist. And then down here there are individual legs. If you move these smokestacks a little bit, like up possibly, then you can bring out the leg as much as the smokestack allows. And then the arm is hindered a lot by this shoulder panel. But actually this is this dude's incredibly fragile. Yeah, right. So the shoulder can rotate 360. It's got, I'm not really sure what you'd call this. This is arguably an elbow right here. And then up here, this could be like another shoulder joint maybe. Down here could be wrist movement, wrist movement, wrist rotation. The arms have a lot of hinges, mostly just for transformation and also for changing the stud angle. Because like for the little things to get everything to line up during in the trailer mode. So I'm not entirely sure whether Crosshaul really fits the description of an Autobot or a Decepticon. I'm not really sure what I intended him to be in his building, but he has mostly human proportions, but there's just something a little bit weird about him besides the fact that he has these. I imagine that these could be like some sort of weapon maybe. Like if I could find some way to build something like this, but the car turns into like a gun, that would be cool. Or like a truck that could like carry a tank. I'm basically thinking out loud right now. Maybe that could be the topic of my next video, building some Transformer. Because I really have no Transformers that I can make videos on right now. I have literally none that you guys haven't seen. So I need to work on that. So comment some ideas for like Duocons, Transformers, Combiners that you think I should try to make. Thanks for watching.